Are you ready for my all-time favorite meal that I have ever created? This is the ultimate recipe for fast, easy, healthy. You should be making this every week, if not multiple times a week. I'll show you how easy it is. Let's go. Hey everybody, this is Dylan.
And Reeves.
I am always telling you that the key to sticking to a healthy diet and lifestyle is making it so easy that you barely have to think about it. This dish is perfect for that reason, and many other reasons, honestly, which we'll get to. But I love this dish because it's fast, easy, I don't have to plan ahead for anything. I'm gonna show you how you can batch it and make it even quicker, cut corners, and all those things. It's our Instant Pot Ziti, and it is just top notch. The recipe for this one is down below in the description box. Be sure to click it, print it, put it right on the inside of your pantry door or on your fridge so that it's always there, because these are ingredients you're always gonna have. So you can make this one without having to do any planning ahead. Watch some of my plant rants where I've talked about some of the beginner's challenges if you're new to this way of eating, where you can get too caught up on planning and meal planning and making like chefy cuisine to try to impress all your family and friends. No, this will impress them well enough, and it is so fast and so easy to put together. You've got to make this recipe. Let's get to the chopping, shall we? I've got a yellow onion. You could use a red onion, a white onion, it doesn't matter. All you got to do is dice it up and get it in to your Instant Pot. I'm using the 6 quart. This baby is gonna be full. So you could also do this in an 8 quart Instant Pot, perhaps more comfortably.
What about a frozen onion, Dill?
I make this a lot with a frozen bag of onion. One little 10 or 12 ounce bag of onion, chopped, frozen, ready to go, is like the equivalent of 1 onion. So you could just dump that in. Same with the bell pepper. We're gonna be chopping up a bell pepper, but you could use a bag of frozen diced bell pepper too. Boom. How much more time have you just saved? But we're gonna chop because it's fun to chop, and I've got the food and I don't have the frozen stuff right now. I ran out. Which brings me to my next corner cutting experience, which is that we do not use the saute mode. We're throwing everything right into this Instant Pot. We're gonna power it up, and it's going right for pressure. We don't need to spend time doing the saute of the veggies and all that. Does it add something when you do that? Maybe. Maybe if I was taste testing the two next to each other, I would be able to tell. This is an absolutely perfect dish, and I've never thought to myself, if only I had sauteed those veggies first. No, 1 whole onion straight in the pot. 1 bell pepper going in. This is a green bell pepper. You could use a red bell pepper. You could use whatever you want. Mushrooms. I've got some mushrooms. You can get some frozen chopped mushrooms, but the texture isn't as good as fresh mushrooms. This is the one thing I'll chop. Like, even if I have the frozen bell pepper and onion, I'm gonna just chop some mushrooms real quick because I love the mushrooms in this dish. I don't want to go without them. Next up, this is an optional item, but highly recommended. These are the frozen artichokes from Trader Joe's. I love this in here. The bag's still totally frozen. I'm not chopping these or anything. I just open the bag and throw them right in. They're pretty big. It's a nice big bite when you get a chunk of artichoke, but I love the flavor so much. If you want, you can leave them out or chop them up, but you should really try it at least once because they're so good. Next up, let's throw in some tomatoes. I'm gonna do 2 cans of no salt added diced tomatoes and 2 cans of tomato sauce. These are the regular, 14, 15 ounce cans, and I really recommend no salt added because this would be like thousands of milligrams of sodium in this dish if you didn't find the no salt added. And no salt tomatoes are getting easier and easier to find. In the tank, here we go. Let's talk pasta. Once in a while, I get a message from somebody who says that they got the burn warning on the Instant Pot when they did this dish. There are a couple reasons you could get the burn warning. One reason you could get the burn warning is if this seal is bad, but you'd be getting the burn warning on lots of other dishes if that were to happen too. And the reason is because the heat never turns off and it just finally burns the thing on the bottom because it's not sealing up correctly. If it's not that, then it could be your pasta. This is the pasta we use. It is a gluten-free pasta, which is great news for many people who care about that. Red lentil penne from Barilla. If you don't use this brand and you use a different gluten-free pasta, it's very likely, pretty much 100%, that it's gonna disintegrate in the Instant Pot and turn into mush, settle at the bottom, and give you a burn warning. Use this brand if you can find it. You can get it on Amazon in like a 10-pack. Don't worry, now that I've unveiled this recipe to you, you're gonna be using it. Throw it in, boom, just like that. Was that hard?
If you're a beginner to this way of cooking or a beginner to Instant Pots, this is a great recipe for you.
Good point. You wanna start with something that's not gonna get you into trouble. Unless you use the wrong pasta, then you get the burn warning. Then you're like brand new to the Instant Pot. Oh God, I never want to use this thing again. So just use the right pasta. Let's get into some of our dry pantry ingredients. There's only like half a cup of red lentils. Wild rice. I love a little wild rice. Not as easily findable as like regular old brown rice, but you could also sub for green lentils or brown lentils, I guess they're commonly called, just the standard lentil. We are throwing in a boatload of Italian seasoning. This is authentic Italian. Look how much this is. It's a lot. When you're not cooking with a bunch of salt, oil, and sugar, you gotta use a lot of flavor. This is like a completely salt-free dish. It's very low in fat, other than we're gonna be throwing in some soy curls. So you gotta crank up the flavor a little bit, but don't worry. When you taste this, you're not gonna be like, oh, too much Italian seasoning. No, it's perfect. It balances out. These are the Butler soy curls. You don't have to use them in this. It just adds a little richness, meaty texture. I kind of break them up in my hands because some of the pieces are quite big, but you can get soy curls on Amazon. They're just whole soy that's been cooked and then pressed and then dried. It comes out just like this. It's way better than textured vegetable protein, which is much more processed and parts of the food is removed and all of that. I really prefer soy curls. Next up, a little nutritional yeast. I love nutritional yeast in this. We make the best one on the market. I get questions in the Facebook group, who makes the best nutrition? You're in our Facebook group. We make the best one. It's non-fortified. You don't need your food to be fortified with vitamins. We leave the fortified out. This is the non-fortified, best flavor. Get your hands on it. Here's garlic powder. Of course you can use any garlic you want, but I'll show you why I like all these dry pantry ingredients right after we add this one more thing. Crushed red pepper. You could just grind in some black pepper if you prefer, or leave it out altogether, but I like a little kick, so we're throwing in a little crushed red pepper. Radish seeds. Let me explain. At Trader Joe's, they have this wild rice, brown rice blend, and it's got these random little pops of flavor and texture, and we looked into it. There are radish seeds in their rice mix. I have radish seeds because I used to grow a lot of radishes. You're not gonna find this on a store shelf, but if you have radish seeds, you could throw in like a tablespoon of radish seeds. It's a fun little touch. We're being extra now. We have done this for years, so I'm just telling you. I'm just passing it along. You're done. Throw this baby in the Instant Pot, and we're gonna add water. If you use some frozen stuff, whatnot, you could be boiling water like I did, and now you're gonna save a lot of time for the getting up to pressure in the Instant Pot. We're adding like whatever it is, 6-7 cups. It's in the recipe. Fill it up to around where you're gonna be worried because you're past the fill line. You know, I break the rules sometimes, but I really like it in the 6 quart. Now just carefully stir it. Let's see how the water level looks. Obviously it's gonna look really soupy. We haven't cooked any of those starches that we threw in. As soon as you add the water, you definitely wanna give it a stir, because red lentils, I don't know if you've noticed before, but when you get red lentils wet, they clump and they'll stick to the bottom. So you wanna definitely give it a stir as soon as you add your juice. Close it, seal it, boom. High pressure 20 minutes, and then you can manual release it after that. You can open it, it'll be done and ready to go. Are you ready for a shortcut? Because I'm gonna show you how you can batch this thing. If you have lots of mason jars, and I do, you can pre-batch this. You get a mason jar funnel, very important for ease of use. Take your red lentils, and we're gonna create some sand art. Everything's going in. All this is gonna be ready in your pantry. The crushed red pepper, the onion. We gotta fit these soy curls in. Are they gonna fit? No. Now I have to transfer it to another jar. The point is what we're really doing here, and that is saving time. Throw a lid on there and boom, you can have all this ready in the pantry. So now all you've got is this, the pasta, the canned tomatoes, and a little bit of the chopping. Now this dish is gonna come out just perfect as it is, but if you wanna add some things at the table, let's talk about that. We like to chop up some black olives sometimes. Remember, these are fat and salt bursts. If you are totally no salt, then don't use olives. If you like to add a little bit of salt to things, this is a great way to do it. This is, you know, equal to like a sprinkle of salt on your food. Now you can rinse them a little, you'll get some salt off, but not all of it. And then I just chop. Other than that, I'll sprinkle on a little more nooch or crushed red pepper and a little olive. Boom, you got a meal, the best meal. Oh, looking good, looking good. Let's give it a stir. You gotta give it a stir.
You weren't kidding. That is filled to the tippy top.
Yeah. And we didn't get any burn warning or anything else, and it worked just great. Let's have a taste, shall we? Sprinkle on a little bit of the chopped olives. No need to overdo it. Maybe a little bit more than that. I like it pretty toasty, you know what I mean? And then we got a little bit of nooch if you want. This is when the magic happens and you realize, oh, I am gonna make this almost every day now that I've tasted it just one time. Oh boy. Just perfection in a bowl. It's just so good. Tomatoes are a little bit more acidic, obviously, so sometimes we'll add like a teaspoon or so of our date powder. It's not really part of the recipe. I don't do it every time, but it will give a little bit of sweetness, which is a nice touch, so try that if you want. And don't worry, it keeps in the fridge. I'm not much of a freezer guy, so I can't really speak to that. I don't see why it wouldn't freeze well if you wanted to, but it sure will keep in the fridge for a week, easy. So capitalize on the effort you put forth to make this, and now you've got a ton in the fridge and you can just enjoy it throughout the week. Some days we eat it all in one day. I hope you love this one. The recipe's down below in the description box. Get it right now. Make this one tonight, please. Comment in the comments about how this is your absolute favorite recipe, because I know it is, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.